Where does Nyck de Vries go from here? Now, Nyck de Vries just had one of the most tumultuous seasons in Formula One. Only had 10 races after an impressive showing at the Italian Grand Prix in a Williams and essentially changed everybody's mind and gave him a chance at the AlphaTauri, but totally botched it, bottled it, as the UK fans would say. But where is he going next? Well, there's a report coming out that there could be a couple things happening. He could go to endurance racing, which he has been participating in, the Le Mans Series, GTs, Formula E, and possibly Formula One. But let's be honest here. Who's going to sign this kid up to Formula One? Formula One is not a place about giving you second chances unless you've proved yourself the first time, which we're seeing now with Daniel Ricciardo. They will only give you a shot where if in the past you prove that you were competent, you were very talented, you had the skills, and maybe something happened at another team and they'll grant you an exception for that. But they will not do that for you if you can't produce, because it's so coveted to get one of those seats. There's so much money involved and there's so much politics involved. Now, talk to Formula E. He already won the Formula E championship and left. So why would he go back to Formula E? That's a total joke. You know, you could go to the endurance series. He could get probably a fat contract from, one of these companies, Renault, Mercedes, Ferrari, whatever. But if he really wants to make an impact in open wheel racing, you should look to IndyCar. Look at what Alex Palou is doing there. So many times I think about these drivers. What do you want to do? Don't you want to be known as someone who wins? Why do you get into any sport? If you love basketball, if you love baseball, there are guys who come and they get these huge contracts and they give up on ever being someone who's known as a winner. This is the problem. Racing is dangerous. It's not a basketball game. You could lose your life at any second. And to get into a car just to get money, which you already have. These guys, all of them, first of all, come from money. At least 99% of them do. So to get in a car after you have all the money, after you're comfortable, after you have all the things paid off that you need to be paid off, you should look to have some integrity deep down. None of these guys seem to have that. Nicholas Latifi walks away. Now he's going to go into business because he doesn't want to be, I'm not famous anymore. I'm not in Formula One. Let me tell you about drivers nowadays. All they give a shit about is being in Formula One. Alex Palou has won like 3 races in a row, was leading the championship, has a chance at winning the Indy 500, and all he's talking about is, let me go to Formula One so I can be in some shitty back team. Oh, yeah, that would be great. Or, I'll get a seat with McLaren. Bullshit. These guys who are getting contracts from IndyCar to sign for McLaren in IndyCar because they think they have a chance at practicing at F1, that's never happening. They'll get a bunch of test drives. Zach Brown will talk in their ear saying, oh yeah, if you sign with us here, I'll give you a shot at Formula One. Lando Norris is their guy. They're going to do anything to protect him. If he leaves, they will pull someone from their programs. They will not pull someone from IndyCar. There is a view that if you go to American open wheel racing, you should not have a shot over here at Formula One. What did you see with Colton Herta? They did everything in their power to say, oh no, he doesn't have the super license. And that's another thing that the Formula One and the FIA is doing. They're trying to make it so that you need to have this certain license and you have to race in Europe and you have to race for these junior programs. They're essentially making it so that you have to come from them, have to apply to all their rules and do everything they want, and maybe then they'll give you a shot at Formula One. That used to not be the case. You could come from IndyCar to Formula One. For sure, anybody from Formula One can go to IndyCar, but they don't care. This has all become a fucking Kardashian show. Everybody wants to say to all the girls out there, all the people on Instagram, all the people on Drive to Survive, I'm in Formula One. But what's the point if you're a driver to be driving in 20th or 19th place? Would you rather be winning an IndyCar, winning huge races, racing at the Indy 500, winning championship, beating 20 other guys from 20 different countries, for all these different teams to show that you are a race car driver, that you deserve the respect of people? Or would you rather run in the back in a Haas like Nikita Mazepin, embarrass yourself? Oh, hey guys, my best result ever was 15th place. That's what drivers are turning into. They don't even have the self-respect that these guys had back in the day. And they're getting paid way more than these guys did back in the day too. There wasn't even these lucrative contracts with these terrible teams. And like I said earlier in the video, half of these guys, if you don't come from somebody's from a 100-millionaire family, they're from a billionaire family, or you're the son of a former Formula One driver, it's all this stuff. And they can't accept that if they can't make it in Formula One, and it's not just talent-based in Formula One, you might not get the right politics. You might not know the right people. You might not have the right relationships in a program. You might not have the sponsorship that other people do. There are paid drivers all over Formula One. Nicholas Latifi's dad invested hundreds of millions of dollars into McLaren. Lance Stroll's dad owns the team, okay? Nikita Mazepin's dad essentially floated the survival of Haas for that season when they had no other sponsorship for $20 million. This is how things work. And necessarily the best drivers aren't at the best team. Does anybody think Carlos Sainz should be at Ferrari? No. Does anybody really believe that Sergio Perez should be at Red Bull all the time? He's just a points playing guy. If the best guys rose to the best teams, you would see that all the time. But in Formula One, that necessarily doesn't happen. So if you're going to believe in going to a team that should win and show you respect, he should either go to these sports car teams where this is actually huge and popular in Europe. You can maintain a huge following. Or he should go over to IndyCar, let his presence be known, say, hey, now that I'm at a sports or a competition where it's more even field and possibly not everyone, but 80% of the field could win any race, now I have a shot to show you who was really the best. I was in a team that sucked, with a group around me where the guy next to me had been there for 3 seasons, knows everything about it, and I just couldn't get the right setup. It is not my talent, because trust me, when people think of Nyck de Vries, they're not going to think of a Formula E champion. They're not going to say, oh man, he was great in F2. They're not going to say, oh man, great endurance driver. They're just going to remember him as a loser, unless he goes to another open wheel program that can show him that if you get success here, you can say that I was not the problem. It was the car, it was the team, it was the people around me, it was the setup. And he will probably not do that, because I know how these Europeans are. They don't give a shit about IndyCar. They don't have any respect for it. But trust me, there's a lot of guys in F2 who could never get a ride in F1 who are going over there, Christian Lundgaard, Callum Lott finished second to Mick Schumacher in the championship in F2, and he never had a shot because he did not have the name Mick Schumacher had. He didn't have the relations with people, and he didn't have the financial backing either. So he had to go over to a team, and now he's actually having some sort of success where he would just be in now what? A sports car in the back of the pack with a non-big team because he doesn't have the name or all the things that go around with getting that spot. This is what Formula One drivers have to do. They have to get into a team or a thing that shows them the respect that they wanted when they first got to driving. You did not spend 30 years of your life, 20 years of your life, the first 15 years of your life to get into a situation where now you have to be known as the person who's second to last, third to last. Have some self-respect. If you think any differently than me, please put the comments down below. I will debate you. Also, subscribe and like so we can grow this channel. Thank you.